So, I'm gonna try to make a joke here. You'd be semi-retired.
Yeah.
Semi-retired.
I'm kind of semi-retired anyway, but.
So this would be our third time of getting back into it. That's crazy.
Actually, I mean, for you, I've been getting in and out of trucking since the 70s.
Well, since we've been married, okay, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, Ruthie and I have been married going 21 years. So.
Well, no, we just had our 21st anniversary.
22 years, going on 22 years. And so, you know, it's kind of a new ball game for her, but for me, I've been doing it since the 70s. Back when people were still dressed up like that.
Dressed up like... Oh, wow. What does she have on?
That's a picture of her when she was younger, see?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's real 70s looking for sure. So you've been driving trucks since the Flower Children.
Yeah. Oh, yep. I learned how to drive a semi-truck when I was 16 or 17. I think I was 16. I stole a truck. I worked at a trucking company running forklifts. And on the weekends, I built motors for people. And, you know, V8 motors, gasoline motors. And anyway, so on the weekend, I would rebuild motors and stuff like that on the weekends at the shop where I worked during the week. And so anyway, there was always semi-trucks parked there because what it was is we had drivers that went out all over to Monterey County and got flowers and brought them back to where we were, and we put them in the freezer and we would label them and load them out to trucks, and the trucks would ship them all across the United States, and that was in Monterey, California. So I did that for a long time, and one day I got a wild hair and decided I was going to drive a GMC ASTRO cab over. Had a 53-foot van hooked to it, and I jumped up in there and was trying to turn the steering wheel and couldn't turn the steering wheel. I was giving it everything I could. I was like, wow, how do you freaking turn the steering wheel on this thing? And I finally figured out if you just rocked it a little bit, I mean, you could turn the steering wheel. Once I figured that out, I got the steering wheel turned and got it in gear and pulled it out. And on the way out onto the street, there was a sign that said no parking. Well, that sign ended up being smashed. I ran over that thing, and but that was the only thing I ran over. After that, I drove it to Prunedale, which was about 18 miles away, and I drove it up this really steep hill to go see this girl that I knew, but she wasn't home, so I turned around and drove it back and parked it, and that was the first time I ever drove a semi-truck.
But if you were driving it uphill, how did you know how to put it in gears and all that?
Well, I was grinding them, but I was getting them in. I was finding them and grinding them, and so but I didn't do too good. I mean, I drove it. The only thing that I tore up was that sign that said no parking. And I didn't, tear it completely up. I just kind of bent it over a little bit, on my way out. But
so were you trying to show off the truck to your girlfriend then?
I was going to show off. Let's see what I can do. See what I can do.
I can steal a truck. How did you not get caught? I mean, how did you not?
It was a weekend. Nobody was there.
But they left the key in it?
I had access to the key. I was running the shop over the weekend. The shop was all mine in the weekend, and I would build motors for people. That was what I did on the weekend, was build. I got the manager of the place let me use the shop to build motors on the weekend. In fact, we even built a dragster, which they called a rail. It was a front engine rail, a dragster, and you'd get in it and you'd sit behind the motor, and the headers would shoot flames out on both sides of your head, and you had big double carburetors right in front of you, and you had to look between the flames and the carburetors to see where you were going. and you sit right down on the rear end, and the transmission was right here. So, and yeah, we built that. I built motors. I did all kinds of things on the weekends to make money. So, you know, I was young and had a lot of energy. I was nonstop, so I didn't have to have any days off. So, back in them days.
And that was your very first time to drive a semi-truck.
That was the first time I drove a semi-truck. Yeah.
Wow. And you
and
said...
then a couple months later, I met this guy that was from Pennsylvania, and we took off, and he talked me into it. We took off, and I rode with him out to Pennsylvania and running reefer. Actually, ran out to Chelsea, New York, hauling lettuce out there, and came back and dropped me off. And he come back a couple weeks later and said, "You want to do it again?" So yeah, I went out there. The next time we went out there, I drove and drove out there and drove back, and we just started trading seats. You know, when he got tired, I would drive. When he got tired, vice versa. And so we wouldn't even stop and pull over. We would just change seats and keep on trucking. So and anyway, so yeah, that was when I was 17 or 18. It wasn't too much longer after I had first learned how to drive a truck.
But so that truly, that could not have been legal. I mean, that could not.
I didn't even have a license.
What?
I didn't even have a license. I didn't get a license until I was 18.
So how did you not get, like, what would have happened if you had gotten...
Well, I didn't hang my head out the window and go, "Hey, everybody, will you look at here? I'm driving without a license." Ooh.
But what could
Hang
have...
a white flag out. "Well, I'm over here. Look at me."
But what could have happened if you had gotten pulled over?
It would have gotten in trouble.
Big time. That reminds me of how...
Even though I ran away from home when I was 12, I never got involved with the law until I was 21. So
that happened when you were 21, yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting fingers.
I'm not giving you any fingers.
Have a wonderful day. Have lots of fun wherever you are. God bless. Yes, and I'm Big Belly.
And I'm Bumbles. And together...
we are Mumble Bumbles.
we are Big Belly... say it. We are Big Belly...
Rebuilds.
No! We are Big Belly...
Bumbles!
Yeah. Love you, Steven.